Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman. Before we start proceedings, I've got some very important announcements, so please would you take note of them. The first one, regarding the dinner this evening, could delegates make sure that they have picked up their vouchers before tonight's formal dinner? If you don't have your vouchers, you will not get in. The security is going to be very strict and very tight tonight, so don't forget your vouchers, please. The second one is, delegates are reminded that they have until the end of this morning's coffee break to pass their comments in writing on the draft conclusions and recommendations to the General Information Desk in the registration area. So that's before the end of coffee, comments in writing to the information desk in the registration area for the final edition of the conclusions and recommendations. Memory sticks will be issued to delegates as they leave the final session this afternoon, and therefore delegates are asked to leave by the rear exits where you will be issued with the memory sticks. Heads of delegations, would you please collect your voting packs during the morning coffee break from the foyer at the back of the auditorium? So that's heads of delegation, please collect the voting packs during the coffee break from the foyer at the back of the auditorium. Don't forget also handsets, the translator handsets. Don't forget to hand them in before you leave the conference centre. And also, those that need to confirm their flight details, flight information, you do that before lunch, please, before lunch. So just to recap, vouchers, very important, don't forget those. Coffee time, draft your conclusion and recommendations in writing, please. Memory sticks at the end of the session. Headsets to be handed in, and also voting packs, coffee time from the foyer at the back of the auditorium. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the last session in this conference. Now finally we have come to the most important part of the conference. Anyway, certainly in AtoN Heritage matters. I'm Christian Lagerwald from the Swedish Maritime Administration, and as Vice Chair we have Carmen Martinez from Puerto de Estado. We both work in the EEP, in the working group of Heritage, Conservation and Civil Engineering. Before we start, I would like to take the opportunity to encourage all IALA members to send a representative to the EEP committee meetings and to participate in the working group on heritage, conservation and civil engineering. You have some information in your pigeonhole about this. The subject this morning is on AtoN Heritage. We have 7 speakers, so we have a very short time. So we have roughly 10 minutes for each one. The first speaker are Commander Hideaki Noguchi. Commander Noguchi is a senior engineering officer in the Navy in Navigational Safety System Development Office of Maritime Traffic Department in Japan Coast Guard. He is in charge of international affairs and technology development of AtoN engineering. He is a member of the Japanese delegation to IMO and SC and NAV, and a member of the IALA EEP committee. In 2005, he was dispatched to the Philippine Coast Guard as an expert on SAR and AtoN of the Human Resource Development Project by Japan International Cooperation Agency for 2 years. Welcome, Mr. Hideaki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to be here as the first speaker of the last day when everybody is exhausted and maybe sleeping. So please hear my presentation as a wake-up call for the following presentations. And I will wake you up by shaking your eyes. Okay, the Fresnel lens is one of the great inventions of the H2 navigation history and has contributed to safety of the navigation for more than 200 years. Therefore, the Fresnel lens, large Fresnel lens such as first order or second order Fresnel lens has a great historical values. And in Japan, there are still many such large Fresnel lens working as a practical H2 navigation. However, the large Fresnel lens is very vulnerable to the earthquake damage. And in Japan, as an earthquake-prone country, it is important to protect such Fresnel lens from earthquake damage. So today, I'd like to introduce how to preserve large Fresnel lens using modern technology from the earthquake damage. First, I'd like to show you the example of the earthquake damage of the Fresnel lens. In 2007, an earthquake magnitude of 6.9 on the Richter scale hit Sariyama Misaki Lighthouse. Here. And Sariyama Misaki Lighthouse has a second order Fresnel lens made in France at that time. The earthquake was not so large, but many prisms of the lens had cracks. And also, mercury was spilled out from the back. So we replaced the Fresnel lens with a rotating bacon, and the lens was disposed. As you see, large Fresnel lens and mercury bars are very weak to earthquake damage. The first solution was removing mercury bars, and we invented new rotating system using a ball bearing. We call the bearing rotating system. This is a bearing rotating system. It's developed in 1970. It's old, but installed at only 5 lighthouses because the bearing rotating system has some problems or issues. These are the issues of the bearing rotating system. And among these issues, the biggest issue is that the bearing cannot mitigate seismic movement. So we needed another solution, especially how to mitigate seismic movement. So we developed a seismic isolation system for the Fresnel lens. This is the seismic isolation system